you ever noticed that when you avert your attention to your breath or your breathing, it suddenly feels as though you're doing it? You're the one that's breathing. But prior to you averting your attention to the breathing, um, breathing was still going on. And how, when you do avert your attention to your breathing, uh, it starts to seem like you're controlling your breathing, and many people will report, people associated with meditative practices that involve focusing on your breathing. They feel like they have a shortness of breath, or that their rhythm is out of whack. Their breathing rhythm is out of whack anytime that they focus on their breath. And I've personally experienced this as well. When I focus on my breath, it feels as though I'm the one choosing to inhale and exhale and when to do it, and I'm not doing it as rhythmically and properly as my body does on a daily basis when I'm not focusing on it. Or this is a point Will from Psychonaut Visions made in one of our collabs. When you become aware of blinking, when you become aware of your blinking, suddenly you're the one who's blinking, and you need to time it right. You need to time your blinks right, and it feels all jumbled up, and it feels all out of rhythm and not properly timed right when your attention goes to it and you're trying to do it. And I've personally realized that this can happen. It's happened to me when I avert my attention to my stride while I'm walking. All of a sudden, I don't know how to move my hands while I'm walking, or if I should keep them still, or how far they should go out. Right when you avert your attention to what you're doing, it's as if you get all caught up. Or even when you're thinking, when you try to think, when the thinking mind tries to think, it begins to get in this sort of loop of thinking about itself, thinking about thinking. So really nothing's coming up, and you're trying to think, but that's what you're busy doing. Just that, is trying to think, rather than thinking about what you are trying to think about. You're busy trying to think. And there's plenty of these examples of the moment you put your attention into it, it all gets jumbled up, it all falls apart, it all clams up and gets weird. And you can think about it like when you're in a flow state doing really good, like for example me, if I'm doing really good at one of my PC games and all of a sudden I realize how good I'm doing and I better keep doing good or else I'm gonna lose, boom, I lose. And it's as though I was operating perfectly prior to my recognition of the operation. But right when I realized the operation and tried to do it myself, tried to continue to carry it out, it fell apart. So what I'm getting at here, if you see the point I'm making, is we as egos, we get in our own way. We get in our own way by trying to do what's already happening, by trying to achieve what's already occurring. What's the difference between hearing something and giving it a really good listening, really listening intently? What's the difference? What's the difference between seeing something and really giving it a good look? What's the difference? Alan Watts believes that the difference is tension. Tension. When you try to do what's already happening, you tense up, you clam up. And this is what gets in the way of the happening itself. You know, Alan Watts describes how when you try to look at something, you tense up all these muscles around your eyes and you strain, and you know what he's talking about when you're really trying to look at it. And by doing that, what you're doing is compromising your vision even more and blurring it and making it less accurate by tensing yourself up so much. Vision is best when you're just allowing it to do what it does of itself and allowing what appears to appear of itself, be it in focus or not. Same thing with hearing. When you really try to hear one thing, all the other stuff seems to get in the way, you know? Why is it that when us, me, I, who thinks I am this body, why is it when I try to do and or help out or be present for what my body is doing, I get in the way of what my body is doing and it can't operate at its flow state, at its best, when I have my attention on it. And I think the real culprit, the real reason behind this is exactly what Alan Watts was talking about. Tension. And when I learned about this whole thing Alan was talking about, I realized myself that the word attention itself, what is that? What is it? What is attention? It's this thing that's bouncing around, you know, but like, what's the nature of it? What's the nature of the attention? You can think of synonyms, but that's not really what I'm looking for. Nothing like concentration. It's, you know, it's tension. Attention is tension. Attention is attention on a given thing. Whatever you're attentive towards is what you've put attention on, and you're straining on it, you know? And like I said in the beginning, at certain times this can help you out. This can help you out, you know, like if you're having a panic attack or you're really scared and you have shortness of breath or something, attentively taking deep breaths could help you out. You know, stuff like that. Applying your attention isn't bad, but what it's doing is it's constricting your conceptual thinking and your focal point of awareness onto one thing and negating really all the other stuff, blurring all the other stuff and making this one thing the primary focus. And there's plenty of ways that could be good and bad, you know? But the nature of the attention or the focus or whatever you want to call it is tension, is a restriction and a constriction on a specific particular thing, you know? When you don't have attention, ADHD, attention deficit, you can't constrict your attention on these one things because you have just a little bit of attention on everything. You know what I mean? It's not in great magnitudes on one individual thing like everybody wants you to be doing so that you can achieve this one specific thing, you know? And there's nothing wrong with attention that's all over the place. I mean, as long as you can achieve what you're trying to do, it doesn't matter where your attention is. You don't even need attention. If you are of yourself achieving what you want to be doing without being attentive towards it, don't worry that you're not aware of how you're doing what you're doing, or you're not planning or strategizing or writing shit down or whatever. If it's happening, just allow it and keep doing what you've been doing, and you don't need to worry that you're not focusing enough, you know what I mean? Because what I'm getting at really in this video is that the focusing and the trying is what gets in the way of the doing, of the happening, of the allowing and the unfolding of what you're trying to do. Like the person that's trying to think, they're busy trying. They're no longer busy trying to do what they were trying to do. They're caught up in this whole other thing that's going on, you know what I mean? Same thing with trying to do better at this or do better at that. It's not your attention on the goal that allows you to do better. It is the development of your experience of doing it itself that allows you to understand and do it better. You know what I mean? You can pay attention to something forever, but if you don't know what you're doing or what it's about or how you're doing it or why you're doing it or can't even do it, the attention doesn't mean anything, you know? So like all my examples in the beginning, you can see how attention gets in the way of what's happening. And when you think about it in a sense of goals and ambitions and dreams and stuff like that, I think in the same way, your attention on it can get right in the way of it. It can snub it right out, you know? It can clam it all up and make it anxious and flustered and confused and lost just because you're trying to do what's already happening of itself, you know? If you want something, you're gonna chase it. You don't need to worry. You don't need to try to chase what you desire. It's built in. You chase what you desire. You live in what you desire. You do what you desire. You do what you're okay with. You don't need to try and get what you desire. That's really far out to realize, but you know, it's the idea of a comfort zone and how all we really do is desire and do what we want to be doing, you know, regardless of the circumstances we're in, be it good or bad. We're trying to get what we want. We're trying to be happy. You don't need to worry about trying to get what you want because you're going to do it regardless. Writer's block. You can think about writer's block, whether you're making music or writing a story or whatever, how it just can't go on because there's this block, you know. That's and just before it was all flowing and it was all so beautiful and it was just coming right out of you like gold, you know, right out of the pen. And now all of a sudden there's this internal block, and you know, we've named it writer's block. But really that's the ego, that's the phantom self trying to write, trying to do what was already happening. All of a sudden it's present and wants to be the one doing it, and therefore gets in the way of the doing of it because it doesn't know how it was doing it. It doesn't know how it was doing it. A lot of the like crazy athletes that are in these flow states that are just doing this incredible stuff, you ask them, how did you do that? They don't know. They don't know how they just did that. It just happens. It just happens. The body does it. The body is doing it. And it's a sort of synergy. It's a sort of synergy of, because the mind is a part of the body. The body really is this whole thing going on. And the mind is a part of that. So you don't negate the mind. But the mind is where the ego resides, and we can't deny that. We can't deny that. The mind is where the ego resides. So that's why the mind is tricky and hard to work with, because it's hard to get that mind thing to tune in and align with this body thing, so that it doesn't get in the way of itself. Because usually it's able to do its own thing when it's not even present. When it's not even present. AKA when you're breathing and not aware of your breathing, you're breathing just fine. But the second you become aware of your breathing, you're all, or the walking and the stride, or the blinking, all these little weird physical cues and body language, like I kind of mentioned in the beginning. They get all clammed up when you get in the way of the happening of it. And that's why it's at first the best alternative is to just not focus on it. Just don't be a part of it, because it happens of itself. It's fine. Have faith that it will take care of itself. Alan Watts says, without even realizing, you have faith with every step you take that the ground isn't going to fall out from beneath your feet. That's faith that you don't even think about. So have faith in your body, in your attention, and your goals, and whatever you're doing, that it will all carry itself out, and stop trying to do it yourself. Because who is yourself, really? You say this body, but the body does it. The body's its own thing. The body isn't what's telling me it's this person. The mind and its matrix of conceptual thinking is what is creating this illusory self that is presenting itself through syntax, linguistic understanding, and vocabulary. That's all the self is. The self isn't this body. The body is this incredible thing. And the self really is an incredible thing of its own, because it's just so dynamically complex and ignorant, really. But yeah, it's very strange and interesting that this self thing gets in the way of the natural happening of the body and this whole thing going on, you got mind and body, self and other, and that's really what it feels like it comes down to here. Is there's mind, where ego is, and body, which is not just this, but the entire body, the entire physical universe. Mind and body. And then you got self, same thing, mind, and other, which is even this body and this entire physical universe and everybody else in it. The ego is, like I said, resides in the mind, and thinks it's more than the mind. It thinks it's transcended the mind, but it really just is the mind. It doesn't go anywhere else besides the mind. That's where its power lies. That's where its imaginatory importance lies, But the body, and remember, not just this thing, this whole thing. The body houses mind. The body houses mind. The body houses the ego, who you think you are. And it doesn't worry about it. It just does its thing, you got body and you got mind. Where's awareness? Where does awareness come into the equation? Awareness is the awareness of body and mind. It's not in the body or in the mind or anywhere really. It is awareness itself. It is like a mirror. It's, you know, it's not actually there. It's it's all coming from. It's the point. And, you know, I've come to realize that point, you know, is who we all are. Is this creative universe, you know? Who you are isn't in the mind. It's not in the body. It transcends all of that. Is awareness of all of it, you know? And when you identify with that, your mind is still being a mind, you know? It's not like I'm perfect. My mind is still being the mind it's always been. But my awareness, or I guess you could say who I identify myself as, is awareness. The awareness of mind and body. And the thing is, awareness can be present and not present. It can be present while it's not present, or not present while it's present. Awareness is infinite. It's this whole thing, you know. It's the works. It's the whole works. In the mind is where you're going, okay, I am awareness, I am the body, I am my mind, I am this, I am that, you know. It's not awareness that does that, it's not the body that does that. You could argue that the body is where the mind resides because of X, Y, and Z, that this is where I am, and because of that, my mind, it must be in here, happening because of this thing right here. But guys, when you really start to look into this stuff, all the different nomenclature of how to describe this thing, it's all mind. It's all mind. It's all mind games, you know. And it's not really a separation between mind and body, or self and other. That's all more mind games. That's all more perception, concept. This is all just a dancing experience, and it's all piercing through itself, you know. But yeah, isn't it strange that when you apply your attention to things, generally, it seems to get in the way of what you're doing? Like I said, not with everything. Not with everything. If you're applying your attention on slowing down and being more in tune with what is happening of itself, that is good attention. That is great attention, you know? Put your attention on the fact that when you're attentive of certain things, you stumble. You clam yourself up. Be attentive of that. You know? Give yourself some space, you know? But be attentive of it in a good way. In a growthful way that allows you to stay more in tune with the right now, with what you're doing right now, you know. Allow the mind to become a flow state. The mind doesn't have to be the one getting in the way. That's not the nature of the mind. But the nature of who we think we are when we identify as the mind and its concepts gets in the way of the happening, you know. But yeah, I think that's really all I got to talk about in this video. Thank you all for watching. I hope to make some more videos here soon, but it's just that kind of situation where I don't have anything I want to share at the moment, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm bored with my channel or I'm out of ideas. It's just that, you know, in my moments, in my now, I don't feel like making a video. Even though there's plenty of stuff I could just throw the camera on, record myself saying, you know, it doesn't seem like it's as genuine when I do that. I don't know, and that's why I'll kind of take these breaks here and there, and you know, they'll only be like a week, 2 week long breaks, but nevertheless, I'll take these little breaks, and that's why, is because I feel like what I would make a video about in between those intervals would just be to put a video out just for the sake of making a video, and it wouldn't have any sort of fundamental reasoning beyond that I just needed to make a video. I just wanted to make a video, so I had another video for you guys to watch. But yeah, I like making videos when I feel a drive to make the video, and I feel passionate and relaxed and calm about what I want to talk about. But yeah, that's really it for this video. I guess I'll name it something like mind, body, and awareness, maybe something like that, or how ego gets in the way of body, or I'll find something. But thank you all so much for watching. I do hope to get some more videos out here soon. And like I've said before, if you have anything you want to see specifically, or a question you want answered, leave it in the comments, and I would love to turn that stuff into content for all of you guys to watch, and to help you guys out, and to get to better know my watchers. So again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you later.